Hello there. I'm Scotty, and you're not. And welcome to Short Lived, the series where I go through all TV shows or just TV shows in general that ended too soon. And today, as you can see, we're talking about Freakazoid. Super Teen Extraordinaire, Freakazoid. And yes, this is a series that I watched on Cartoon Network. Apparently it came out. Never says exactly what is it. Is season 2 still in my bag? The 8th. Still on my screen. Alright. So I have both seasons right here. And I want to comment about season 1. This season 1 is a reissue. They do a lot of those with the Warner Brothers shows. And with this, there's actually 14 episodes in this season. However, there's actually only supposed to be 13. And it's because they have an extra episode that has the Cloud and Candlejack. Two cartoons that were already in earlier episodes. Candlejack was in episode 2, and the Cloud wouldn't actually show up until episode 11. Freakazoid was a show that came out in 1990. Maybe it says on the back of this one. This one's a little more. Let's say in 1990. I want to say 95, 96-ish. I want to say. But so yeah, the show was produced by Steven Spielberg and created by the same people who brought you Tiny Toon Adventures, Animaniacs, and Pinky and the Brain. Freakazoid himself was voiced by Paul Rugg. Not Paul Rudd. Paul Rugg. He's the one who does all the voices that sound a little bit like this. You know, I don't know how to explain it. But it was about Freakazoid, Dexter Douglas, who is a teenage nerd. He gets a special pinnacle chip that when certain things happen, he gets sucked into the internet and returned into a Freakazoid. Now, the story here is that there is this big conglomerate corporate company who creates these pinnacle chips, run by a man named Gutierrez, voiced by Ricardo Montalban. And this guy named Roddy, who I guess worked on the pinnacle chips, voiced by Craig Ferguson, comes in and says, we need to recall all the pinnacle chips because there is a one fatal flaw with the chip. If someone were to push in a precise sequence of keys followed by delete, it would suck them into the internet and turn them into a Freakazoid of sorts. Gutierrez laughs it off, but we later find out that he may have been behind the thing. He may have programmed it, or he wants that to happen to himself. I don't know. But Roddy is able to escape by using the internet, and we'll get to that in a little bit, to eventually get to Dexter. No, he actually drives. He jumps out a window, that's right. He is able to escape and get to Dexter, disguised as his driving instructor. But Dexter's already put the chip in and got sucked into the internet. He turns into the Freakazoid, and he at first has a hard time controlling it. And eventually he's able to turn into Freakazoid by saying, "Oh, freak out," and then turn back into Dexter by saying, "Freak in." And eventually Gutierrez gets in there, and he, it's one of those things where they fight, but he gets left in the internet, and he comes back later during season 1 to get revenge. And here's the thing, though. This origin story I'm telling you isn't the first episode of the show. It's actually 2 different episodes. It's 3 parts because this has the same kind of format as Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain and Tiny Toons, where there's multiple cartoon stories within the show. And so you have the first 2 parts in one episode, and then the third part is in the next episode, followed by something else after it. But yes, then Gutierrez comes back later. But the most fascinating part about this is they got, and they're proud of this, by the way. I did watch the Nostalgia Critic video on it. They're proud of the fact that they got, tenured actor Ricardo Montalban to say the line, "I am not a weenie." And I love that line too. "I am not a weenie." But, so the original format, and I said I could season 2 change things. Format was to be like a Freakazoid cartoon and then something else. There are quite a few Freakazoid cartoons, there's a handful, that have a sort of film, movie kind of thing. Like, take the first episode, Dance of Doom. You go, yes, Dance of Doom, starring, and they name off some names that aren't actually in the episode, followed by always ending with, and Rita Mercator as the Hopping Woman. That's always in there at the end. There is no Hopping Woman ever, but they always mention her at the end. So, but it's fun. Freakazoid has and the Freakazoid, it's very different than your normal TV show. They wanted it to be different. They wanted to have the comedy like Animaniacs. So it's actually like a satire on the superhero genre. Like the first episode, they're talking about a hero, and then they go, that hero's on another network, and they show a silhouette of Batman, and then, so they have Freakazoid, of course. He has a rogues gallery of villains like Cave Guy, Cobra Queen, Candle Jack. Now his thing is you say his name, Candle Jack, and then he shows up and takes you away. So, Candle Jack. There's like a bull. I remember his name. Something stupid. They do a play on the island of Dr. Moreau, which is kind of cool. He has 2 different butlers. At first, there's Ingmar. He's mute, and then Smith, who is actually, or is it Jones? Supposed to be Smith from Lost in Space. They even joke, "Hey, weren't you on a show with a robot?" No. To bring it up again. The late Ed Asner voices Cosgrove, police helper, and the gag with him is always that Freakazoid is on his way to stop the bad guy, and he gets stopped by Cosgrove. "Hey, Freakazoid, you want to have a mint?" "Do I?" And then he's like, "Oh yeah, did you hear about that thing at Harry Connick High School?" "Oh, I gotta go." And it's always there. But the format usually has Freakazoid, another cartoon. There are a few recurring cartoons during the first season. There's Lord Bravery, a superhero who is constantly trying to save people, but nobody wants him to because he's not a famous superhero. He often has problems doing so. There's the Huntsman, who is trying to find people to save, but there's never anything to do, really, And there's always stuff. And the other one that I can think of that's a recurring one is the Sidekick Chronicles, where we feature a story about a sidekick that Freakazoid used to have. Like Handman, which is just his hand, Foamy the Freaka Dog, which is a rabbit dog he caught in a pound. I don't know if there's any other ones, but there's other ones that we see throughout the show that aren't in this, like Expendable Lad, who's in an episode called Fanboy, what's his name, who gets killed. Fanboy shows up. Fanboy's another recurring character within the show. He's a obsessed fan geek who just wants to be Freakazoid. I hate Freakazoids like new. And then there's Freakazoid, who is mentioned only in the second episode, I think it is, with Freakazoid and friends. And we never actually really see her. I like to think in canon it would end up being Steph, who is Freakazoid's girlfriend. Freakazoid, not Dexter's girlfriend. She doesn't know the Freakazoid is Dexter Douglas yet. Yeah. By the way, his name is Dexter Douglas, and Dexter's older brother's name is Douglas, so his name is Douglas Douglas. I should mention, though, that the reason the Pinnacle chip got activated, Dexter's Pinnacle chip got activated, is because the cat was chasing a fly, stepped on the right keys, and Dexter pushed, delete, and then he gets sucked in. I gotta say that there's decent comedy in this show. It's not for everyone, but if you grew up in the 90s and you're used to this comedy, like Animaniacs and Tiny Toons and stuff like that, you'll like it. It's fun. The animation is pretty good. There's even things like they were even trying things out. They say it like they're like, oh, you have a freak alert, for this episode anyway. We're just trying it out. And then like they had a Freakmobile which was made just to sell toys, and they even played like you could bite yourself, and they even have a kicking femboy thing. I don't know if they actually sold it, but I don't know. They played on the fact that it was a satire of they put things in animated in TV shows to sell toys, so that's what they did. I rewatched these with my son recently, and I had a lot of fun. Year is a lot of fun rewatching these. We laughed. Till anymore. What else we got? But yeah, there's some things that show up that don't come back again, like Toby Danger, which is a play on Johnny Quest. They even got the original voice cast from Johnny Quest to come back and play these characters, and they are. It's kind of like C-Lab 2021, but less adult-like. It's kind of like that. Like, they take this, and it'd be put in Adult Swim, I think it would make. Wasn't too much. The Lawn Gnomes, which is a satire on the gargoyles, as they are cursed after being mean to some Vikings. And a sorcerer. The sorcerer sentenced them to mend their ways. And until they change their ways and stop being jerks, they will continue to be frozen at day, and be able to walk at night like the gargoyles. There's a running gag with the network censor in one episode because things are too violent. They do gimmick things. There's one with the net censor that tells them, I just want you to know that nobody here was hurt. And then each time she tries to say something, an anvil drops on her. There is I am Moron, which is an alien who comes to Earth. They later changed it to Boron because they didn't want a character being called Moron, I guess. Relaxovision. Every time a violent thing happened, it would pop up like flowers or something. Do, 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 do. And then with Candlejack episode, it was in Screamo-Vision, where someone would go, scream, ah! And it got to be a joke because there's a scene where Steph kisses Freakazoid on the cheek, and they go, scream, knock it off! It was funny. It's funny. It's a funny show. Hot Rods from Heck, because you can't say hell, right? Fat Man and Boy Blubber. Again, play on Batman and Robin, but they eat these kids' lunch. In Arms Way, Arms Akimbo, another villain. Yes, that is his name. He's just arms, and he's bent like this. And he can't move his arms. He's stuck like this. He does this. Weird villain name. Season 2's format changed, where it was just single cartoons, mostly. They brought in Hero Boy, which was a play on Astro Boy, the character. I must succeed. I must succeed, and there's like clones and stuff. See, there's Fanboy right there. And the Lobe was voiced by David Warner, so you know that. Here's some villains. You have Cave Guy, the Lobe, Cobra Queen, Candlejack, and I don't know what that one is off the top of my head. There's other villains like Invisible, and there's a song, Where Did He Go? That Invisible, because he's invisible. So you can't see him, and there's a song playing throughout the episode, so. Yeah, so the one question we sort of ask during these is, would you like them to come back? Yeah. You know, they brought back Animaniacs, and while I wasn't too impressed with it, I think that they could bring Freakazoid back and actually bring him back. Not like his little cameo on Teen Titans Go with that animation. No, because they tried to do that with Thundercats with that kind of animation. It was worse animation, like Clarence animation. It looked terrible. Thundercats roar, why? Don't die. Don't die. Don't die. But yeah, this show was fun. I would love to see a revival of it. Bring back the people involved. It would be fun. But yeah. So, what are your thoughts on Freakazoid? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.